Today, we are really cracking open a concept that sounds almost, well, painfully simple, waking up early. But we're going beyond just the basics. We want to dissect exactly why so much research from productivity, psychology, even neuroscience keeps pointing to this one habit, why it's seen as this profoundly transformative tool.
Exactly. It's not just about feeling a bit less groggy, is it?
No, not at all. We're diving deep into let's call it the hidden power of setting your own schedule before the world decides it for you. And this deep dive, it's really tailored for you, the listener, especially if you're that curious learner feeling overwhelmed by, well, everything, and you want to inject more intention, more focus into your day.
More control.
Right. Now, let's tackle the elephant in the room straight away.
The I'm not a morning person argument.
Precisely. For every guru talking about the 5 a.m. club, there are thousands, maybe you included, groaning, nope, definitely not a morning person.
Right.
And we hear you. Sacrificing sleep, battling that night owl tendency. It feels like a total non-starter for many.
It really does.
But the sources we've looked at, they're actually incredibly rich, quite persuasive. They suggest the benefits go way beyond just managing your time better.
And that's really the core distinction we need to zero in on today. This isn't simply about, nudging your alarm back an hour. It's more fundamental. It's about shifting how you control the inputs of your day. The central idea, the thesis we pulled from the data, suggests early rising offers a genuine path.
A path to what exactly?
To clarity, unparalleled control, and really intentional living. And there's an immediate psychological payoff. One source puts it nicely. It's like you're granting yourself an extra hour of life every single day.
An extra hour of life. I like that framing. It changes things.
It really does, because it reframes the mental calculation. You're not losing comfort or sleep necessarily in the long run. You're gaining an hour. Pure, unallocated, quiet time.
Time you can actually use for what matters most.
Exactly. For your highest value priorities. Think of it like a strategic investment in your own self-efficacy. And we're going to explore how that investment, pays dividends in your focus, your decisions, your whole mental landscape, really.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the immediate feeling, the sensory part the sources talk about, the quiet edge. This is about the simple environmental advantage you get, right? Just being awake before the world really kicks into gear.
The pre-rush hour.
Yeah, picture it. It's, say, 6 a.m., streets are quiet, maybe still damp. Your office, if you go to one, is empty. But crucially, your digital world.
Silent.
Totally silent. Your email, your calendar alerts, all those messaging apps demanding instant replies. Nothing. There's this peacefulness, this palpable stillness.
And the sources really emphasize that this unique environment lets the mind actually breathe.
Right. Gives you space. Just to sit, absorb the silence before what they call the chaos begins, which feels pretty accurate most days.
It does. And what's fascinating, I think, is how that immediate physical quiet directly reduces your cognitive load.
Cognitive load. Explain that a bit.
Well, think about waking up with everyone else, maybe 8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
You're instantly thrown into, a reactive state, right?
Yeah, emails are already flooding in, news alerts.
Exactly. You're flooded by external demands, family needs, maybe traffic noise, and definitely that digital barrage we mentioned. Your brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part, immediately starts having to allocate resources to, frankly, minor emergencies.
Little fires everywhere.
Pretty much. And every single time your phone buzzes with a notification, your attention pays a price. Researchers call it a cognitive switching cost.
Okay, so it's not just the distraction itself.
Yeah, no, it's the mental energy you lose every time you pull your focus away and then try to bring it back. It adds up fast. The early riser, they intentionally step out of that stream. By claiming those hours before the alerts start, you secure a period of sustained, low-input activity. You're basically ensuring your best cognitive resources are fresh, ready for what you decide to focus on.
Okay, so that contrast is key then. Control versus reaction.
Absolutely defines the early hours.
Let's paint the picture of the typical start. Most people, they wake up, first thing, check notifications.
Instantly handing over control.
Right. Handing over their attention to someone else's agenda. They start the day already feeling late, maybe skipping breakfast or whatever internal maintenance they need, playing catch-up from the moment their feet hit the floor.
Which puts the brain straight into a reactive, high-stress state. Decision fatigue before you've even had coffee.
Exactly. But the early riser, they get to write the script for their morning, maybe even their day. They start calm, focused, intentional. They have the headspace to decide, okay, what's today really about? What's my main priority? How am I going to approach it?
It's proactive versus reactive.
But here's the pushback, the question I know listeners will have. If someone isn't naturally a morning person and they force themselves out of bed at, say, 5:30 a.m., isn't that initial grogginess, that sleep inertia, just going to cancel out the benefit?
That's a really good question, a necessary challenge.
Does the research offer any ways around that brain fog? Or is this whole thing only really effective for those, natural lurks?
Okay, so the sources definitely acknowledge that grogginess. Sleep inertia is real, no doubt, especially in the first few days or weeks of adjusting. But they argue the countermeasure is sort of twofold. First, simple physiology, hydration and light exposure, meaning physically getting up, moving to a well-lit space, drinking a glass of water. These things help signal to your body, okay, the wake cycle is definitely started. It helps override that inertia faster.
Okay, practical tips. What's the second part?
Second, and this is crucial, this stillness has to translate directly into clear planning. You use that quiet time to structure your day before the noise hits.
So you were asking how stillness leads to better decisions.
Exactly. It's because you walk into your demanding work day already centered, already prioritized. You've had that quiet window to maybe process yesterday's stuff and, more importantly, decide on today's key outputs.
So you're not wasting that peak morning brain power on figuring out which email to answer first.
Precisely. That decision's already made. You've used the quiet hour to sort of fortify your mindset against the inevitable stressors coming later. You've built a buffer.
That preparation, that buffer zone against stress. This sounds really appealing. Okay, so let's shift gears slightly from mindset control to something more tangible, what the sources call the productivity premium. Our research flags this strong correlation. Early risers tend to get more done, and importantly, they often accomplish more of the right things, the high-impact stuff.
That's a key distinction.
And the nuance here is really important for you listening. The research confirms this isn't about being inherently smarter or faster.
No innate superiority involved.
None. It's purely a function of optimized time use. They succeed because they've reliably carved out a window of distraction-free time that, let's be honest, just doesn't exist later in the day for most people.
They've claimed the golden hours.
The golden hours. Let's talk about those.
Absolutely. This is where we need to synthesize what the sources consistently identify as deep work. Those early hours, maybe 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., give or take, are specifically golden for tasks demanding high cognitive load.
Such as
We're talking about focused writing, complex coding, rigorous critical thinking, creative problem solving, and really relevant for our audience. Intellectual learning, synthesis, really grappling with new information.
Okay. And the key ingredient for making this work?
It's simple but profound. The absolute absence of distractions. No push notifications pinging, no emails screaming for immediate action, no colleagues popping by, no family interruptions.
Just pure, focused time.
Exactly. In today's fractured workday, that kind of uninterrupted focus is maybe the most valuable and scarcest commodity we possess. The early morning is often the only time you can reliably guarantee that protected cognitive real estate.
It makes sense when you think about the typical 9 to 5. The noise is just constant. We live in this state of perpetual alert. And we know from behavioral science, every time we switch contexts, like jumping from writing a complex report to answering a quick text message, our brain takes a surprising amount of time to fully re-engage with that original complex task.
Those switching costs, again, they pile up.
They really do. They just demolish high-quality output over the course of a day.
So the value of that uninterrupted focus first thing in the morning becomes immense, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It lets you commit substantial, sustained brain power to one single important goal. For someone listening who needs to really internalize complex stuff reviewing technical docs, synthesizing advanced theories, this period of pure focus is like the ultimate acceleration hack.
You're leveraging your brain when it's freshest, before it gets worn down by 1,000 micro decisions and external demands.
Right.
And connecting this to the bigger picture. It's really about achieving high intellectual output with maximum efficiency. Let's say you decide, okay, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. is my dedicated learning block. That hour isn't just for passively reading an article, it's for active engagement. Maybe synthesizing notes from multiple sources, applying something like the 9901 rule, focusing 90 minutes on your single most important project for 90 days, or using spaced repetition on dense material you need to lock in.
So it's about tackling the hard stuff first.
Yes. Tackling those high-effort tasks first thing allows you to make real progress on the goals that actually move your life or career forward, instead of just spinning your wheels on urgent but ultimately unimportant tasks later on.
And there's a psychological benefit too, isn't there?
Huge. By the time the interruptions and reactive tasks inevitably start consuming your day, say after 9 a.m., you've already secured a major intellectual or creative win.
Ah, that feeling of accomplishment.
Exactly. That feeling of self-efficacy, I got the most important thing done already, it's a powerful propellant. It carries you through the rest of the day, transforming it from feeling like a scramble to feeling like, okay, now I'm executing based on my earlier focused work.
That idea of securing a win early,
Right.
that flows really nicely into the next section, the ripple effects, particularly around stability and mental health.
Right. Because the benefits aren't just about output, they're internal too.
The sources point to this quite strongly. It's about resilience, well-being. Let's start with the most fundamental bit, routine and the body clock.
The biology of it.
It sounds counterintuitive maybe, but the sources stress that waking up earlier consistently naturally nudges you towards sleeping earlier too.
It has to, eventually.
And this simple alignment, day after day, across the 24-hour cycle, seems crucial. When your wake-up time is consistent, your whole sleep routine tends to stabilize. And the result, they report, consistently better energy levels and, interestingly, improved emotional regulation during the day.
This is deeply rooted in our biology, specifically our circadian rhythm, our internal body clock.
Yeah.
So many people struggle with chronic fatigue or energy crashes because they're constantly fighting that internal clock with late nights, inconsistent wake times. The body just thrives on predictability.
Predictability is key.
Yeah. And think about cortisol, the so-called stress hormone.
Yeah.
It actually naturally peaks in the early morning, usually between 6 and 8 a.m. for most people. That's your body getting ready for the day's demands.
Okay.
So if you wake up during that natural peak, you're essentially leveraging that hormonal boost for alertness and productivity right away. But if you wake up late, say 9:30 a.m., you kind of miss that initial wave. You often spend the morning feeling groggy, playing catch-up hormonally.
Interesting. So aligning with that natural cortisol surge helps.
It helps create sustained mental energy rather than relying on, say, hitting the coffee pot 3 times before 10 a.m. Consistently stabilizing your wake time helps optimize that natural process.
So consistency here isn't just about discipline, it's almost a physiological protective factor.
Well put, yes.
Okay, beyond the biology, there's a psychological angle too, a sense of satisfaction. The sources talk about this quiet victory of seeing the world wake up.
Yeah, it's a nice image.
It is. Watching the sunrise, maybe seeing the first light hit the buildings, having that moment of quiet reflection or just simple aesthetic pleasure while everything else is still dormant.
And it's described not as some huge achievement, but as a small, quiet victory before the world even wakes up.
That feeling, it seems like it changes your relationship with the start of the day. Instead of the alarm being an assault, you feel like you consciously greeted the day. You were there first.
And that feeling translates directly into something psychologists see: higher self-perception, more confidence. Because you've consciously chosen discipline over immediate comfort.
You did the hard thing.
You did the hard thing, yes. You've done something positive for yourself before the demands of the workday even land. And that accumulates. That self-trust, that sense of, I follow through on what I intend to do, that's a bedrock of mental resilience.
Building trust in yourself.
Exactly. So if we tie this all together, looking at the bigger picture, this consistency in sleep, in taking intentional action first thing, and having that moment of quiet reflection, it acts as a really powerful foundation. It helps reduce that overall feeling of mental clutter, of anxiety.
How so?
Because when you're proactively controlling those first 60 or 90 minutes, you're essentially building a psychological moat around yourself. A buffer against the chaos that, let's face it, often arrives later in the day.
So you're less likely to feel overwhelmed.
You minimize that background hum of stress that comes from feeling chronically behind schedule. It allows you to approach challenges from a position of more control rather than just reacting desperately all the time.
Okay, so the case is strong. Control, productivity, stability, mood. But now we need to get really practical, making it count.
The application piece, yes.
Because the sources are absolutely clear on this. You can't just wake up early for the sake of it. That hour, or however long it is, must be assigned to something meaningful. Otherwise, the habit won't stick.
Absolutely critical.
This is the core rule they emphasize. The why precedes the when. If you don't give yourself a compelling reason, a meaningful task for that extra time, you'll just fritter it away. Checking social media, wandering around the kitchen.
And the discipline collapses pretty quickly under the weight of, why am I doing this? I'm tired.
Right. So the motivation hack here is essential. The reason you get out of bed needs to be a pull, something pulling you towards it, not just a push of obligation. It needs to be something personally rewarding, something you actually maybe even look forward to.
Exactly. For the learner listening, that pull could be finally digging into that challenging book that requires real focus, or dedicating time to that complex personal project. You know, the novel you want to write, the advanced certification you're studying for, the difficult language course.
The things that always get shoved to the exhausted evening hours and then never happen.
Precisely those things.
Yeah.
You need to front-load your day with the activity you most value but most frequently procrastinate on. Make that early hour the non-negotiable time for it.
Any tricks for just getting out of bed when the alarm goes off? That first moment is the hardest.
It really is. One micro-strategy the sources suggest is a version of the 5-minute rule, or maybe just the 5-second rule. When the alarm rings, you have to physically sit up and put your feet on the floor. Immediately.
No hitting snooze.
No hitting snooze. You don't have to leap into productivity right that second, but you must change your physical state. Maybe move to a different room. Just break that powerful psychological link between your bed and drifting back to sleep.
Make the decision to start before your brain fully registers how comfy the bed is.
That's the idea. Make the action precede the negotiation in your head.
Okay, that's super actionable. Let's detail some specific suggestions from the sources for what to actually do with this gain time, keeping that deep work idea in mind. They seem to fall into a few categories.
They do.
First, there's reflection. Things like mindfulness practices, meditating, maybe journaling. This connects directly back to that mindset control we talked about, clearing the mental decks before the day's inputs hit.
Good for setting intention.
Second, physical activity, but usually simple stuff. Low-impact exercise like stretching, some mobility work, maybe a brisk walk outside perhaps while listening to educational material, doubling up, gets the blood flowing, leverages that cortisol peak we mentioned.
Right. Wakes up the body and mind.
And the third category, maybe the most critical for hitting that productivity premium, is planning and growth.
This is the deep work zone.
Exactly. This is where you, the learner, dedicate time to high-value cognitive tasks. And it's not just passively reading, it's active learning. Synthesizing notes, reviewing difficult concepts to really lock them in, maybe strategically planning the 3 most important things you need to achieve in the workday ahead.
Or engaging in that creative work like writing or problem solving. That needs your best, freshest mental energy. This is your prime opportunity to use that quiet to actively advance your knowledge or projects, not just consume more information.
Right. Be a creator, not just a consumer in that hour.
Well said.
But as we've kind of hinted at throughout, this isn't some magic button you press. We need to be realistic about the adjustment period. The challenge is real.
Very real. The sources are clear. Expect resistance.
The initial struggle. It's pretty much inevitable, isn't it? You will feel tired at first. That snooze button will sing its siren song, especially in the first, say, 2 weeks while your body is fighting the change.
That's just your existing habits, your brain resisting this new, harder routine. The real danger zone, according to some research, is often around days 3 through 7.
Why then?
The initial novelty has worn off, but the new habit hasn't fully cemented yet. That's when it's easiest to say, forget this.
So knowing that resistance is coming is half the battle.
Anticipating it is the best preparation. You just have to commit to powering through that initial difficulty, because the sources consistently promise a powerful, undeniable reward cycle on the other side.
Okay, the payoff, what does that look like?
Once your body adjusts, and this usually takes about 3 weeks of absolute consistency, that's key, you start to notice a tangible, self-reinforcing payoff.
Tangible how?
It's described as this noticeable, undeniable increase in mental clarity, a sense of calm, and maybe most powerfully, confidence. That's the positive feedback loop kicking in.
So the benefits start to outweigh the initial pain.
Exactly. The initial difficulty gets overtaken by this distinct, gratifying feeling of I'm one step ahead. That feeling of self-efficacy, I did the hard thing this morning and now I feel in control of my focus in my day, that becomes the new motivation. It's intrinsic now.
You've swapped external pressure for internal achievement.
Precisely. And that's what fuels the habit for the long haul.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize the core message from our deep dive today. Early rising. It's not about being morally superior, is it?
Not at all. No judgment here.
It doesn't instantly make you smarter or guarantee success in some magical way, but what it does seem to provide, based on the evidence, is a strategic, protected resource.
The head start.
A significant head start on achieving your most meaningful goals, on building a more resilient mindset, and honestly, just finding a bit more peace of mind. It's a strategic use of time to shield your most valuable asset, your focus, from the endless demands of a reactive world.
And that really brings us back full circle to that core mindset shift, reframing the alarm clock. Tomorrow morning, or whenever you try this, when that alarm goes off, the thinking needs to change. Don't frame it as, ugh, I'm losing sleep, or I'm sacrificing comfort, or I have to endure this struggle. Frame it as deliberately gaining time, gaining control, gaining access to the only hours of the day that might be truly free from external interference. You're claiming that space for yourself.
That's a powerful reframe.
And the source material leaves us with a really potent, provocative thought. It kind of encapsulates the whole philosophy. It says, because the earlier you rise, the more fully you live.
The more fully you live, implying that intentionality is key to a richer life experience.
Exactly. So the challenge we want to leave you with, the listener, is this. Think about what specific, meaningful goal, that tough learning objective, that demanding personal project you keep putting off. What would you prioritize in that extra hour you could gain tomorrow morning?
Don't just set the alarm earlier in theory. Define the specific task that makes the sacrifice genuinely worthwhile for you. Give that hour a purpose. And then, just maybe, see how profoundly that one change starts to reshape your entire day.